Welcome to CrossFit Alaya Unleashed podcast, where we discuss health and fitness, mindset and business with your host, Coach Lloyd. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Alaya Unleashed, where we post updates and teasers on our upcoming guests and podcasts. Here we go. Welcome back, episode 26 of the Alaya Unleashed podcast. Today I have Cyrus Rustom with me. Cyrus is pretty much an OG in Dubai, in the fitness scene, if you will. I remember moving over here myself and you was around the scene working at CrossFit Sands and so on. So you've been around for quite a bit now. But
how long have you been here?
In the UAE for 10 years.
10 years? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 12 years. So.
Yeah. But you've been around a long time. In Dubai anyway. I feel like since then, things have changed dramatically for you, from working in CrossFit Sands to whatever you have going on now, which I'm sure we'll talk about and delve straight into. But with Cyrus, we're not going to go all the way back to school. We're going to start at you joining the military, because you joined the military at such a young age anyway. I think that's a good point of starting our story, of getting to know who the real Cyrus is. So I feel like give us a little intro on the military, and let's just go from the chat.
Yeah, I joined when I was 16. I applied to join when I was 15 and 9 months old on the day, because the law was back then to join, you had to be 15 and 9 months old. So I walked into the recruitment office at 15 and 9 months to the day.
Wow. Was that because you had 3 months of training or something?
I don't know why.
And then you reached 16 or something?
No idea, mate. That was
very strange.
That was the age where you could apply to join, and then you could join when you were 16.
What drove you to joining the military? Was it family, did it run in the family, or was it just you from a young age just deciding you wanted to go and be in the military?
The short version is my parents had divorced. My mum had left my dad with my two sisters and brother, and me and my dad were in our hometown. They went off to the opposite side of the country. We didn't speak to them for the best part of 15 years. Wow. So it was quite a traumatic event that happened for me at 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And I was going down the wrong route, in a sense, playing up in school, not going to school pretty much. I didn't like my hometown. I didn't like the people that I was hanging around with. And I was at school one morning, and my best friend, who was also from a broken family, coming to school with a picture. And he showed me a picture, and I immediately felt and knew in that moment, even at that young age, that's my escape. It was a picture of his older brother, and his older brother was a Royal Marines commando. Now, I'd never even heard of a Royal Marines commando, but he went to explain it's one of the hardest training courses in the world. He's traveling around the world, going all these things. The picture was him in uniform, in a commando, uniform, combats with a commando green beret on, and I was like, that's it. And in my life, that was immediately that my focus was that. I was obsessed with wanting to go in the Marines. So that's why when I hit 15 and 9 months, I knew the day. I went to the recruitment office with my dad. Yeah. My dad signed the papers, and that was it.
I feel like that's impressive at such a young age to know, just like you did, that you wanted to be part of the military. You could have easily, like you said, obviously your parents getting divorced, it had a massive effect on you, which we can go into more of. But at 12, 13 years old, for that to happen, you could have easily gone down another route. Yeah. Easily. You could have, come off the train tracks. You could have, again, spent more time with the wrong people, and just not gone on that path of, what better path is there than to go into some sort of service, right? So at such a young age, what is making you go down that path there? I know obviously you looked at the picture and something just said to you, I want to do this, but did you feel something at the time, or was it making your dad proud, or what was it?
Well, I was no good at school. I didn't understand the lessons. I didn't understand it, anything of it. My grades were the highest grade I got was a G or something. I don't know, I can't remember. It was really bad. So I knew that my escape was never to be able to, go to university or whatever. And when he told me and I saw it, you just have to run. You just have to be able to move your legs and do fitness. I could do that. I wasn't fit, but I I thought like I can do this. And the next day, bear in mind, I was, we were on the street, so smoking weed. I'm not saying that I was a big like gangster or anything, but in North Wales, in a small town, nothing to do, kids hung out on the streets, and we would get hold of alcohol. There was, pills, weed. That was pretty much like the drugs that were around that everyone would take all the time. And I was doing all these things, been arrested multiple times. And when I had this conversation with my friend and I saw the image, the very next morning, I woke up mega early in the morning and I went for a run, right? And I was on this run. It was black. The street lights, were all orange and there was no one around. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. It was freezing cold. And I linked my warm bed at home to accepting this hell in my mind at the time of my hometown and my life as I was accepting it. Like, this is the way life is going to be. If I stop running right now and I go home and I get in my bed, my life is going to be that. But if I just keep running and I suck it the fuck up, I can see how this will lead to me being a Royal Marines Commando. Wow. So I kept running and I got super fit, man. When they actually let me in at 16, I was one of the fittest in the troop.
I mean, that's impressive at such a young age, to have that mindset. I mean, I think that speaks volumes of you now, because, again, we'll get into you and your mindset and your belief systems and so on, but to have that at such a young age, getting out of bed when, it's easy as a teenager to stay in bed.
Yeah, but I didn't have a choice.
No, you did.
I didn't, well, not really. In my mind, I didn't have a choice because I hated my situation so much. It would be difficult. It'd be different if my mum and dad were together and it was a nice home environment and the whole situation was different and there was other paths for me to take. Then it's like, okay, I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and run, but there was nothing else for me. There was no social,
I know exactly
social media back then.
Yeah,
there was no information.
But you could also use that as an excuse not to join the military. Like a lot of people do. And a lot of people come from broken homes, and I wouldn't say an excuse because obviously it's something that you wouldn't want to, be brought up with a broken home. But like most people would not go the way you have gone. Most people would use that as an excuse and just fall in that trap of, this is my life. I'm not good at school. I'm going to carry on smoking weed and just see where life takes me. But you've actually, at such a young age, got up and done something about it, which at that age, there's not many people doing that. So kudos to you. You've done it at such a young age. And again, I think that, and we'll get onto it even more, is your mindset is just different than most people's. At such a young age, without you knowing it or not. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have done that. I really do.
Well, what you just said there, like, I'm just going to let life take me where it takes me. I don't believe in that.
There we are.
That's absolute nonsense. You can do that if you want, and if your perception of reality is life is going to take me where it takes me, then you'll float along and you'll do that. But I do think there are certain things that you can control, and you have your destiny is in your hands. It's your choice. It's just a choice. And I guess I was lucky in the sense that I figured it out that I needed to keep running on that run. And when I went in the military, going through training at such a young age taught me another valuable lesson, which was to never give up. And the first time I tried the commando test, training at the time, Royal Marines Commando training, and still is one of the longest, hardest training courses from civilian into the military in the whole world, right? We're not talking about special forces. We're talking about from civilian into military. And I got to the end of training, and they do the commando tests at the very end. I had a infection in my leg, my knee. I had a cut in my knee, and the infection had spread throughout my leg, and I was hiding it from the training team because I didn't want them to see it and kick me out or whatever. So I tried the test the first time, failed. They moved me back. It's called back trooped. They take you out of that training course and they put you in the one behind it, so you do that next 2 weeks again. Every 2 weeks there was another batch. So I failed with the first group, failed with the second group, failed with the third group. The third group that I failed with, I got to the very last test, which is a 30-miler across Dartmoor.
Oof.
I got to mile 22 and it was hot outside and I collapsed. And I woke up a few hours later. The doctor looked at me and he was just like, "You're an absolute idiot. This
Kidney infection.
is not this is not just a normal thing. All my veins were bright red in my whole leg, and he was going, man, you're so lucky, because a few short years ago, I wouldn't have asked you any questions. I'd have put you to sleep and lobbed your leg off. We have these drugs and stuff now, and I think we can keep it under control. And so I went into a recovery troop where I had to, a lot of people give up and say, okay, maybe this is not for me. And I was becoming unfit because I wasn't in the actual training at this point. I was just kind of rehabbing. And I went back, and obviously I eventually passed. So that experience taught me, like, because I told my dad throughout the years, I'm going to be a Royal Marines Commando. And I remember thinking, like, okay, my option is I either get my commando berry, or I go home and look my dad in the eyes and say, I wasn't good enough. Not an option.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, this is my mindset at the time. I would have rather have died in training than go home and tell my dad that I wasn't good enough. It was a no other options again. So going through like commando, a lot of people say, oh yeah, you're disciplined because of the military, this and that. It's got no, you're not. No, nobody that goes in the military, it gets discipline. Discipline, you're in an environment in the military where you just are like everyone else, and you're in a routine with everyone, and your mindset is a certain way, but you don't have self-discipline. You're in that environment. If I stuck you in my camp tomorrow, my old camp, you would immediately just fall in line like everyone else and do what everyone else did, right? If everyone else wakes up at 7 a.m., you wouldn't wake up at 8 a.m. Like, you're just in the routine, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So the biggest thing I got from the military is learning that if you don't give yourself a second option, and you don't give yourself a plan B, and you just don't give up, you will get to where it is you want to go. And that's the biggest thing I took away from that whole experience. And that was at 16 that I got this lesson, right?
Yeah, at such a young age. How long was you in the military for in total?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And what made you come out of the military? Why was it only 5 years?
Well, I put my notice in to leave. Actually, yeah, I did my time, and I was like, I want to go out. And then when I put my notice in to leave to when I actually left, in between that, I had a very significant incident in my life, but that wasn't the reason I left. I left because I had an interview with the commanding officer, and he said, why do you want to leave? And I said, I want to travel the world, not in uniform. And he's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. What are you going to do for money, this and that? I'll figure it out. Like, we'll get by. And he told me, look, I think you're making a mistake. You have a career in the military here. I don't see what you could do outside. You've got no skills apart from like being a soldier, shooting guns. You should stay in the military and go through your career. And I was like, no, this is what I want to do. Well, then I had the incident, and then I was medically downgraded, and I actually got the confidence knocked out of me because of the incident. So I actually went back to the commanding officer before I was going to leave, and I said, look, can I want to take my notice out. I want to stay in now. And he was like, you're medically downgraded. You can't do that.
Oh, wow.
You have to leave.
So it's gone from him begging you to stay for him saying you have to leave.
You have to leave now. You wasn't fit for service. Yeah. So, but it all worked out. It all worked out for the better, because I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to travel the world and all this kind of stuff, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. And the incident that happened to me after having my interview with the commanding officer allowed me to travel the world without worrying about money for 4.5 years. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I traveled around the world with a backpack. I had no worries in the world for 4.5 years.
I mean, I feel like you'd have done that anyway, even if the incident didn't happen. Because, you're pretty set on what you want. If you're getting into that room telling him I want to leave, I feel like you'd have left and travelled the world anyway.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's a coincidence, though.
Well, everything happens for a reason, they say, right? So while we're on the subject, I feel like we should dive into the incident.
Right, yeah.
Of what changed your life so much, what you learned from it. So you can start by telling us exactly what happened. And then maybe we can go on to, what you have learned and how much it's changed you as a person going from whatever happened to you.
I'll try and keep it as short as possible, not to bore anyone.
I doubt that.
Essentially, the basics of it is we were on a camp in Afghanistan, and I got tasked with a job, and it involved using trucks, big military people carriers. I was driving one, a friend was driving one. One of them wasn't working, so we had to tow it. When I was unhooking the tow bar, the broken vehicle that now the engine had started because we jump started it, moved forward, and I was in between the vehicles. I got my jaw broke in 3 places. I got the whole right side of my face crushed, and I had breaks all over my skull, and my brain had taken a hit. Essentially, my head had been crushed. So I spent 3 days in a coma, 2 weeks in intensive care, and a total of 8 weeks in hospital in Oman until I was allowed to get on a plane, recovering. They told me that I was never going to see straight again. My eyesight was doubled. I wasn't going to be able to hear out my left ear again. My jaw was wired shut to heal it. I had braces at the time, actually, so they used my braces to wire it all up. I had spinal fluid, brain fluid dripping out of my nose and mouth. They told me if it carries on for a bit longer, we need to stick a big needle in your back to find out where the damage is. And when I say that I looked hideous, I can't emphasize enough how messed up my head was. They told me, be prepared to never look the same again. The jaw was like this, my eyes were off center, it was a mess. It was like this big. So they were telling me all this to prepare me mentally for, you're not going to be the same again. And my brain had taken a hit, and everything was slow, you know. And they moved me to a former military hospital in Oman, and there was one other guy in the room there, and I was feeling sorry for myself at this point. There was nobody there. They hadn't flown my parents out or anything to be with me. I was playing the victim. And when you go through a very traumatic incident like that, like a near-death experience, I was running through the incident on repeat in my mind. On repeat, every second of the day. I was going through it. And it was as if my brain was ingraining the fact that I was a victim every single time I went through it. Why has this happened to me? I'm never going to look the same again. I can't see properly. I can't hear properly. No woman is going to be attracted to me because of the way I look now. These are the thoughts that are running through my mind. And there was, in the room that I was in the former military hospital, there was one other guy in the room. And he was a clearly very disabled human. He was constantly like rolling around in his bed. He was trying to bite himself all the time. He was making noises. He was wearing a nappy, and he would just do his business in the nappy, and the nurses would come, change his nappy, hose him down in the shower and stuff, change him and bring him back. He had bed sores all over him. And they would feed him with a bowl of liquid food, and it would just go everywhere. You know, he would swallow some of it. Very distressed. Clearly very distressed. There was an old guy that would visit him every day, and the old guy would come to my bed first, stay with me for about 30 seconds to a minute, and he would encourage me and say stuff like, Inshallah, you will be okay. God is watching over you.
So say like a little prayer.
A little bit, you know, right next to me.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he would go and sit with this other guy for an hour and then leave.
Wow.
So I asked the nurse, through writing on my book, because I couldn't talk, what's the story with that guy? And she was reluctant to tell me, but she eventually said that he was involved in a traffic accident. He was driving a car months before this, and his mum and little sister was in the car, which both of them died at the scene. And the extent of his injuries are such that he will never heal. He has no control of his body, but full control of his mind. And the reason why he's always trying to bite himself, we've communicated with him in a certain way, and he wants to take his life. He doesn't want to be here anymore. And the old man that's visiting him every day is his dad. So I realized, like, oh fuck, this old man has lost his wife, his little girl, his son is disabled for life, yet he's on the side of my bed asking me if I'm okay and giving me good energy. And that guy has killed his little sister and mother, has to look his dad in the eyes every day, is absolutely disabled for life, and he's trying to kill himself all the time. And those guys were going through what I thought in my mind would be the worst hell you could ever even imagine. You can't imagine it.
No.
And I was here with a little scratch on my head, feeling sorry for myself. And I felt shame. And I immediately, in a second, my energy flipped from negative to positive. And I wouldn't accept any negative thoughts in my mind about my incident from that point, because I would just think about them. And I would say to myself, like, no, you're not going through anything hard here. You've had a little accident. You're going to recover and you're going to go home. Up until that point, I didn't even know if I'd be able to go home. Like, with the stuff that was going on, tubes and shit coming out of me, brain fluid everywhere, and them saying you're never going to look the same or see again and all this stuff. It was a big worry, but it was a perspective shift. And I got to realize through running through the incident, now not as a victim, now as somebody that was positive, and I could objectively go through the incident in my mind, not feeling the raw emotion, oh, poor me. It was more like, no, okay, yeah, you're involved in the accident. And I realized when I was on the floor, I was squeezing the hands of my friends so tightly, and I was kicking my legs as hard as I could, and I was screaming at the top of my voice, but I was in no pain. This is immediately after the accident happened, right? I was lying on the desert floor, going through all this, and I realized that I was screaming and kicking and squeezing because I knew for a fact that I was dying. Hard to explain, but you know. It wasn't because I was in pain or that I knew what had happened. I was confused. Death was there. That's all I can say. It's hard to explain. And I've since done research and I've looked into stuff like this, and because obviously I went through it, and it's very common for people when they're about to die or when they die and come back that they have a flashback of their lives. And my flashback was more of a realization because I dropped my ego at that point, because death, finished, end, now, no more, no hiding, no stories about yourself, nothing, no perceptions. The reality was there. And I realized that I'd been living my life up until that point like a scared little boy. My whole life, I was a scared little boy. And my actions, my confidence were the actions of a scared, little, nervous, shy little boy. And it hit me hard because I realized, like, what am I doing? Why am I living my life like this? I can do anything I want to do. The only thing stopping me is me. And I realized that, like, I could be different. I could be whatever I want it to be. And I told myself, like, oh my God, if I get a second chance at this, if I get a second chance and I don't die, I'm not going to be a scared little boy anymore. I'm going to live life fully, because experiencing death without dying was an incredible experience. And it was a wake-up call that I needed, because I realized, oh, I'm actually going to die.
Yeah.
So when I do actually die, I don't want to feel these feelings of regret, knowing that I'd not lived my life true to myself or fully, knowing that I could have been and done more. And it wasn't like I come home after the incident and I was this new, I'm this new person now. No. It took years. It took years of work to get my confidence back, first of all. I told you, I tried to stay in the military. I don't want to leave anymore. No, you're going out. There was a lot of stuff that happened, and a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is from looking back in hindsight and gathering all this. But the realization that I was living like a scared little boy happened instantly in that moment, and it was a powerful wake-up call. So it completely changed my life. And the funny thing is, all the stuff that I was worried about, not looking good, not looking the same again, not being able to see again, hear again, not being able to like actually use my brain because it was slow, like it was hard to think. I couldn't walk. It was all sorts. I got my eyesight back. I got my hearing back. Everyone said, Cyrus, the accident made you better looking because your jaw was replaced in a more prominent position, so you actually gained better looks.
A nice
from
jawline.
it, right? I got the money for my traveling, and best of all, I got to experience death without losing my life. So it was the single hardest thing I've ever been through, but the single best thing that ever happened to me.
It's crazy.
All at the same time. And I've realized from that over time and time and time and time again that when you're given challenges in your life, they are there for a reason. You are not a victim. This is not something bad that's happening to you. You want to live a certain type of life. You have something in your mind deep down, maybe subconsciously, you don't even know it, as a kind of life that you want to live. So the universe knows what you want, and it's going to give you opportunities to become the person you need to be in order to live the life of your dreams, whatever that is. So that was a challenge that I needed to overcome. It was a realization. And now when stuff comes to me and it's hard, and I immediately do feel like playing a victim, I try, then I come back and I take a breath and I'm like, oh no, this is my opportunity to prove that I am who I say I am, and I am going to be where I want to be. Every single thing that happens, every single thing bad that happens in your life that you perceive as bad is actually a good thing. So that also in itself was game changer for me.
Has it impacted on the way you make decisions now? Because I feel like it's like with working out, right? It's like I like to get my workout done during the day because I know if I'm going to, start my morning and do the hardest thing I'm going to possibly do in the day, in the morning, I've achieved something, the rest of the day is going to be easy.
Right.
In your case, you've gone through this traumatic experience, which you cannot get worse or better, depending how you see it.
Yeah. So
everything that comes your way now must be a doddle. Like literally, it's like, people worry about certain things. Like you said, I'm worrying about this and how I look. People genuinely are worried and have anxiety about the way they look. But I'm guessing with you, it's just like, well, I've been through this experience. Why am I worrying about all these little things?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I do well as an individual as well. It's just like, okay, why are you worrying about this? It's going to figure itself out, or you can figure it out easily. People are going through much worse, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Which is a little shift in our mindset as well, right? But I just feel like you've gone through it all now. Everything that comes your way must just be, you know what, I got this.
Yeah. It's not so easy. It's easy to say it like that. And if I'm going to be fully honest, it's not so easy. But yeah, dude, mate, I go back and I think about those men in that hospital. My life is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Right? And yes, being in the military and doing stuff and going for all that stuff, yeah, man, I mean, where if something happens, man, I get to go home and be with my wife and son every day. Some people don't get to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like the military does give you, it gives you a tool, or I'm not sure how to explain this, but I can take risks a bit easier. Because you risk a lot when you go in the military. Yeah. It's a risky job.
You're risking your life, aren't you?
I feel like I'm more, like I'll get an opportunity or something that it requires balls and risk, and I'll say, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Whereas other people would think twice about it, or...
Yeah, and you're only going to expand yourself and grow if you take yourself out of your comfort zone. If you only do what you're comfortable doing, you'll only get the results that you've currently got.
Yeah, so true.
So if you want to get something different, you have to do something different. And so taking risk, it feels risky in the moment. Maybe it's not risky.
Yeah.
But for you, it feels risky because you're used to being here. But you want to be up there, so you've got to do this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably a little bit easier for me to do, given what I've been through, which is beneficial.
For sure. So you've come out of the military, you've gone travelling for 4.5 years, whatever it might be. You've spent all your money.
Most of my money, yeah.
Most of your money. You've sort of, lived a purposeful young age going into the military, doing what you said that you want to do, and this is your purpose. Like, this is what you wanted to do, right? You've done what you needed to do. You've come out, you've gone travelling, which again, you've wanted to do this, you've made that happen, you've stopped travelling. Now what happens? Do you find purpose somewhere else? Are you resting for a little bit? Like, what happened to the Cyrus after the travelling, after he's found himself a little bit more? You know, he's been through this experience, he's now a new man with more balls, bigger balls. What's your, like, timeline then after the travel?
Yeah, I was living in Thailand, been there for 2 years.
Okay.
And
was you travelling and decided to stay there, or is that what happened?
We went travelling, and then we decided to do a scuba diving course, of all things.
Okay.
In Thailand.
Yeah.
So we were there for a while, and I was living in Phuket. I was living all over Thailand, different areas, but I ended up in Phuket. I was working for a place called Tiger Muay Thai in Geelong.
Still going now?
Yeah, it's still there. This was the old Tiger. I mean, this was like 13, 14 years ago.
Oh.
And with the original owner still had it at the point that I was there. The CrossFit area was a few, rusty bars and a few boxes.
Yeah.
Now I think they've refurbished
That's
the
the
whole thing.
yeah.
So I realized, like, I was basically like bumming around now. I'm working for like an hour a day, had money to like eat and go to the beach, and I was like, surely there's got to be more to life than this, right? I'd pretty much done everything that I wanted to do in that space, and I was like, yeah, nah, I'm over it now.
Yeah.
So Dubai was just not so well known as it is today, but it just pulled. There was a pull, like we all have that pull to come to Dubai, right? We all have an instinct, like, okay, Dubai is kind of like the place where things are happening,
Opportunities.
Yeah, and social media wasn't so big either back then. 14 years ago, it was not. There was maybe Facebook and Google, and so I'd have a look and see a few buildings and things, and it looked nice and blue, and seemed like there was some money going on here, and I was like, okay, let's go to Dubai. So I got a job as a personal trainer for Fitness First.
Okay.
In Knowledge Village. It's gone now. I worked there for 6 months when I first arrived.
Okay.
So the whole mindset shift was, back to your question, I'm done with the bumming around thing now. I need to try and do something.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that thing was going to be. I just needed to throw myself in and
But make something of the new Cyrus. Do something.
Yeah.
You've gone from work, being so diligent and, super motivated and disciplined to your craft, to travelling, and then having all that free time. It's like, you need to find purpose, right? Like bumming around, there's no...
Yeah.
It might sound attractive. It might sound, you're living in Thailand, working an hour or two, enjoying the day, but
it's boring, mate.
It gets boring. You need some sort of purpose.
You
right?
said the purpose right there. Purpose.
Yeah.
There's no purpose. You're just drifting.
For sure.
You're not. And I was happy drifting because it was easy and whatever. But inside, I was miserable because I was like, I can do more. I can do better than this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see how far I could take things.
And I get that from you. I mean, I've not known you long, but I do get that from you. Like, you always want bigger and better. You're driven to succeed and learn. You're always reading books and stuff,
Yes.
whether it's cigars or whether it's Bitcoin or...
100%.
So I do get that from you.
Always. If you're not where you want to be right now, there is some shit that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know stuff. If you did know it all, then you would be where you want to be. And my goals for myself are huge. If I told you right now what my absolute goals were, it would just blow your mind. You'd probably think like, nah, mate.
We might get onto them.
Yeah, and so, and look, self-confidence is everything. I did not have self-confidence, true self-confidence 5 years ago, straight up.
How old are you again?
39 next month.
See, that's big.
So
People have been listening to that thinking, that's big.
What do you mean?
Like, proper self-confidence at 30, only getting that at 34?
Yeah, well, I didn't have it at 34. I did not
35.
have it.
Oh, you didn't have it?
No.
Yeah,
no,
but
no.
getting it, like you just said, you've only got
now
true confidence now.
Honestly, like
last 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yes, last few years.
Yeah.
I've realized that I can do anything I want. I believe in myself now.
Yeah.
And before, my goals were small because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in my ability. So I set the bar low. Now, I honestly feel straight up, put me on a lie detector test. If I stick my mind to something and I never give up, I will do that thing that I have in my mind. I can do it. Okay, so now it's like, okay, but what kind of life do you want, Cyrus? And this is for anyone watching this as well. This is something that I advise for everyone. It's the reason why the first thing that I put on my social media every single day is a notebook, my cup of tea, and a pen, and I write goals. Because I write my goals out every morning.
Is that the same goals every day, or are things changing on that notepad? Because most people would probably look at the goals and maybe revisit them every 6, 8 weeks,
it has to be
12
daily.
weeks.
It has to be every single day. You have to see your ultimate goals that you want in life. You have to remind yourself daily. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a story so you get it.
Okay.
I bought a new car about a year and a half ago. Right, I'm not saying this to show off and tell you what car I got or anything, but I was driving a Mazda for like 5 years and I bought a Mercedes. And I am not a car person. I don't know about makes, types, engine. I don't know anything about them. I just drove the car, I liked it, I bought it. Now, if you'd have asked me, Cyrus, did you see your car on the roads? Have you seen this car anywhere on the roads before? I'd have said, no. I've seen Mercedes. I know what a Mercedes is, obviously. I see them all the time. But the CLS 450, the actual like type of Mercedes it is, nah, never. My brain would never have recognized that car anywhere. I bought the car. From day one, CLS 450s all over the road.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, no joke. At least 6 out of the 7 days of the week, my car's either right in front of me, behind me, next to me, on the road, parked. Everywhere is a CLS 450 Mercedes. Everywhere. Okay. They didn't just sell all the Mercedes when I bought mine. They were always on the road. I wasn't in tune with them. I wasn't aware of them. So writing down your goals every day is attuning your mind to the outcome that you want. Why are you going to work today? What is the outcome you're going for? If you don't have your goals top of mind, you're going to miss opportunities that could be sat right in front of you. That's why I write down my goals. I haven't got it with me right now, but I've got a card in the car that I keep in my pocket, and it's got a goal on it.
Usually keep in your pocket. It's not in your pocket now.
It's in my bag in my car.
It's in your Mercedes.
And it's a reminder. It sits in your pocket. We're not very good at consistency, humans. We get excited sometimes, and we can do something for a while, but then we lose focus. We go back into our routines. We tell ourselves the same excuses. That's why I think it's super important to remind yourself. Look at the screensaver I posted this. The screensaver on my phone is my vision board.
Yeah, love that.
I've got the same thing on the wall in my office. So every morning I'm looking at the vision board. I've got my notebook out. I've got my cup of tea. It takes about half an hour.
Yeah.
Write out my goals. I visualize it in my mind. I'll put some tunes on to get me going. Then I'll go about my day. I'm starting the day with my energy up here, with a focus on. And it's not to say I'm going to get all that stuff in a year or 2 years or 5 years. It might take 10 years, 15 years. It might take 20 years to do some of it. Great. But I've got a goal.
Yeah.
Whereas you can liken it to somebody that's trying to get to a destination. They don't know which area they're in. And they just have to drive their car around and hope that they bump into the place that they want to get to. Never going to happen. But if you use Google Maps and you type in the area and you follow the quickest, easiest route to that location, the Google Maps will tell you in 30 minutes you're going to arrive. You have to have a destination. You have to have goals. Unless your goal is just to float through life, like you said earlier, then fine, float. Yeah. Good on you. Yeah. Enjoy that. But if you actually want to achieve something, you have to keep it every day at the top of your mind.
That's why you post a notepad on your Instagram every day.
Yeah, as a reminder for people. Like, do this, it works. It's powerful stuff. Yeah.
I think I might have to start doing that.
You write down your goals?
I do, but not daily.
Okay, so you've got goals. What is it, like 5-year goals, 10-year goals, just a list of big goals?
Yeah, just a list of things. And I sort of put them in order of realistically how quick I'm going to get them.
Okay.
So my first goal would be the one that I expect for me to get within a year or whatever it might be.
Okay.
And then the ones at the bottom, which could be further down the line.
Yeah, stuff takes long. Some big stuff takes longer for sure. Rome wasn't built in a day. So here's a question for you.
I feel like he's running the podcast now. Go on.
The goals that are at the top of the list, you said something very powerful. You said, I'm expecting them to happen, right? So that's good.
Yeah.
But are you taking action? Are you actually expecting it? Because there's a difference between a fairy tale you tell yourself in your head of this would be nice, or there's daily actions and making room and space in your life for that thing to actually come to fruition. So there's a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll let you know. The first goal on there is my sub-half marathon time.
Right.
So that's in 12 weeks' time.
Right.
All right. So I've got a time on there.
Yeah.
And I'm currently following
The plan.
Elias Burge to Burge 12-week plan.
Right. Perfect.
It's in place. So it's
Excellent.
Correct.
So you're not just dreaming of this thing. You're doing the plan. You're
Correct.
doing the work, and on this date that the race is, you will complete that goal. Excellent.
But that's easy, right? Because that's an easy plan in place. So let's say like you, I've got a car on there, which I actually have. All right. So I've got a car that I'd love. Right, perfect. So that's great. So, I mean, that's different, but yeah, that's great mindset, right? So all 3 cars, amazing. But let's say I've got a car in there, which I have. It's a car that I've always wanted.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy for a run time to do the work, put the time in, and do the run. That's physically going to get me my sub 1 whatever time it is, right? But a car.
It's exactly.
How do we measure that? How would you measure it?
Exactly the same process.
Okay.
It's just that running is not going to get you a car.
Correct.
Okay.
What's going to get me a car?
Well,
apart from cash,
money, right? But there's funny ways things work, and you don't know exactly how things will work out. Correct. A million different things could happen.
For sure.
That will change the trajectory. That will end up with you. I would write down on a notebook now, literally 1,000 ways that you could get a car. Yeah. The car that you want.
Agreed.
Anything could happen. Don't be closed off, first of all. Because you said, but the car is different. It's not different. It's exactly the same process. Visualizing that car with detail in your mind, going to the showroom and driving the car, feeling it, smelling it, being in it. Go back there 5 times and test drive the thing if you need to keep that feeling top of mind. Feel the excitement and the joy that you're going to feel when you own that car. Work your ass off every day. Expect it to come. I guarantee you, if you deep down know that you are going to get that car, dude, you'll call me and you'll say, Cyrus, I can't believe it. I can't believe what you told me on that podcast, because guess what's just happened?
For sure. Yeah,
that's how it'll work.
Yeah.
It's not law of attraction and all this kind of stuff. It's not sit on your ass and think of something and magic just appears in front of you. No. It's like I said with the story about my car. It's being attuned with your goals, being aware of your goals, and seeing opportunities in the day that, guess what, will require you to work. Yep. They will be disguised in, oh, fuck, this is going to be hard. This is a big one. But it's the Agreed. Opportunity. Yep. It's the thing that you wanted that's going to lead to you getting your goal. But it will be disguised, and it always shows up as hard work. Yeah. But it is what you wanted.
Yeah. So there's 2 things left that I want to talk about, and we can sort of keep it on the goal-orientated conversation that we're having.
Okay.
Boxica, one of them, because you were the owner of a gym called Boxica. Yeah. Happened for a while now. And we'll finish off with the Crucible, which is an event that people listening might have done, heard of, or want to do the next one. Yeah. So quickly onto Boxica first. Yeah. I've seen something recently that maybe you've got some new investments and you're looking at expanding Boxica maybe. So I'm guessing that's been a goal on your notepad for a while now. So just let us know a bit, whatever you would like to let us know about Boxica, how that come around, and what the goals are for Boxica. No, I don't mind talking about anything and everything. We've been going for 4 years now. Started at one studio just after lockdown.
boxing and fitness studio. We grew it to 4 training areas: cycling studio, boxing and fitness studio. We're currently doing a high rocks area, and we've got a large strength conditioning area. We've got a cafe. So over the years, we've just expanded and grown and taken more space. And we've just taken on a strategic investment from a family-run investment firm. We were speaking to multiple kind of investors, and we felt these guys are great. Family-run. Yeah. You're talking directly with the decision maker. Have a great team under them. It wasn't a corporate kind of atmosphere with them. I felt like it was the same thing as Boxcar is, right? It's a community. It's a second home, a family. So we decided that these were the right guys for us. And the plan is to expand. That was the whole reason why we did it.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was always the vision since the beginning. It was never just to do one location. Mm-hmm. And now is the time to... One of my friends told me, who has a very, very successful business, told me, Cyrus, it's time for you to put your big boy boots on again. Yeah. And take some risk and go for it. So that's exactly what we're going to do.
Lovely. So, how many studios you want in?
Well, as a boutique fitness studio, with the goal of growing and eventually maybe franchising and being in multiple countries, the magic number initially is 5.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 successfully operating studios. And so, not to jump too far ahead of myself, I've got one. And so
one more extra one, you mean?
No,
the
one that you've got. Only got one.
You got the one now,
right
yeah.
Right?
The Boxica.
The Boxica. Mm-hmm. So I need to create a 2 and have them run together. It might be wherever the second one is, right? It could be in Dubai, it could be in Abu Dhabi, it could be in Saudi, it could be anywhere in the Middle East, right? But just another studio, and have 2 running, and then say, okay, now we've got that, let's do 3. And slowly but surely, I'm not rushing into anything. Yeah. I realize it's going to take time, but at 1 studio a year would be smart, because we're also growing the team and the systems and everything else on the back end, right? We're upgrading everything that we do. So it's a process, but we're actively pursuing that now.
I feel like it's an easy thing to do to open another boutique or 4 more boutique studios, but it's not easy to have it successfully run and stay open as your Boxica is doing now. Exactly. That's the issue. Exactly. There's so many people in Dubai open up fitness centers. A couple of years later, they're done.
Yeah.
So the issue is making that second one feel like the original one, having the right people in, having it ran the same way the original Boxicas ran, and it being successful.
Yeah, the second one is the most crucial out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because it's the proof that you can actually
it's like a test,
replicate
right?
what you've done. Because it could be, we're in a great location, the time, it could be a factor of all different things that just so happen to be coincidence that this was a success.
Yeah.
So the second one, when you prove that, it's not coincidence anymore. They've got something. And then you can...
Do you feel like timing's a big thing? Like, you've opened up Boxica after COVID, right?
Yeah, during COVID, we did the fit out. We opened the doors 1 week after lockdown.
I feel like timing has a big, a big impact on things happening.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd have bought a property during COVID in Dubai,
yeah, that's true. You buy it now,
you'd be buying a yacht for yourself or something.
Yeah.
I mean, timing of that.
Yeah.
Who would have known though?
You don't, do you? So that's the risk that you're taking, right? It's like
Yeah, timing. You can get the right time. You can hit the right time off and have absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, and I know many successful people that had turned around and just said to me, they put the hard work in, but also timing has helped. Just
absolutely, for sure. Yeah,
you can get slightly lucky. Yeah, you've done all the hard work and you're having to run this business, but I feel like timing sometimes it's like buying Bitcoin, right? It's like the timing of that.
Yeah.
As well. So, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But 5 different studios around the UAE, 5 years' time, and you'll be coming back to me in 5 years saying, I told you so on that podcast. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I put it out there. It was on my vision board and in my notes.
Yeah.
And I worked at it and we did it. Everything has a process to it, right? As easy as running, well, not easy, but as simple as running your half marathon in a certain time, everyone can get their heads around, I've got to go for these runs, I've got to eat a certain way, sleep a certain way, just stick to the to the process, be patient. There's a chance that you'll hit the time that you want on that run. Every single thing in life is the same process.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't give up. Stay consistent.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Let's finish on the Crucible.
All right.
Super exciting, and I love it. I love the fact that it's something different. We obviously thought about it a lot, but I like the fact that you can tell people about it more than me, but I like the fact that you go in there, you do what you need to do, and then you're done. You're not having to wait around all day to do these tests or competition.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it, and it's just a little bit different to what people are doing, which again, you've probably found, you've probably done some research, you've looked into it, this is what some people aren't doing, let's do it like this.
Yes.
And it's just, it's caught fire, especially with the amount of prize money that's available for athletes to come and showcase the fitness, if you will. So let's tell people what the Crucible is, how it come about.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I would love to take credit for the genius behind it and the all of that, but it definitely wasn't me.
Okay.
But it was very smartly come up with, and it was thought about for a very long time, and we wanted, when I say we, I had a small contribution, I guess, with executing it, but the idea definitely wasn't mine. Having something that you don't need to have special skills to be able to join the competition. When you go to a CrossFit competition, I personally could not do a CrossFit competition right now because I haven't done it for so many years and I don't have the skills. I can't walk on my hands, do muscle ups, do snatches and all this kind of stuff. Nor would I want to do personally any of that stuff. But I could go to a Crucible, I can squat, I can do a pull up, I can do basic foundational movements. And so we wanted it to be for everyone, right? You're a rugby player. It's off season. You're getting strong. You've got some fitness. I don't need to be particularly skillful in handstands and all this stuff to do Crucible. I can come and give it a go and try myself against the CrossFitters. Yeah. Against maybe a football player, a power lifter, a gymnast, whatever it might be. And yeah, we wanted to find out actually who is the ultimate athlete. Think about all the sports and all of the Olympics, high rocks, CrossFit, powerlifting, calisthenics, like bodyweight workouts. It's all for a specific... CrossFit's probably the most varied, for sure. But you need to be skillful. You need to spend years learning skills. So is it just pure athletic output, or is it athletic output and technique and skills? This, we want it to be the legitimate competition where everyone in the industry and around the world will agree, like, if you do good in the Crucible, you are a great all-round athlete. And that was the whole idea behind it. Lovely. And yeah, the prize money, we obviously want to attract athletes from different areas and backgrounds, and we want to actually see, and is this the test for the ultimate? We're not saying now we have got the answer, this is the test. No, we're on a second try, and we're trying out movements, and we're going through it, and we're processing. The reason why we did dips in the first competition is because we wanted to see how that would work. Yeah. And it worked amazingly. So it's all a trial and error at this stage, and we're building it, and we had a great response from the first one. It is focused on athletes. So the whole building of the competition, the logistics behind it, the way that, like you said, it's a 40-minute workout. This one, you come in, you warm up, you do 40 minutes, you leave. You don't need to stay all day. It's for the athletes. We're not building it to be like a circus. We're not building it for spectators to come, although people can come and watch, and it will be a nice place to be, but it's not a show. We're trying to find out who the ultimate athlete is. Yeah. And so, yeah, January 25th, ADNEC Abu Dhabi. If you feel like you've got a bit and you're good at any of the exercises and you feel like, you know what, I want to try myself, you can do it. It's 250 dirhams to enter. Prize money will be given out, 400,000 dirhams worth of prize money will be given out at the end of the day. That's
400,000 dirham. 75,000 dirham for first place.
75k.
What's that in pounds?
Have
just for people that are listening. That's
75,000 dirhams in UK pounds. I'll tell you right now.
About £15,000, I think, just for 40 minutes of work. So if you are from the UK
16.5K.
and you think you're pretty fit and you think you can win 16K for 40 minutes of work, then get that flight, because it's definitely worth it. Just quickly tell people the test this time, because obviously we've done it once before, or you've done it once before, say we. You've done it once before. Like you said, that was the first one. It went well, but again, you learned a lot.
Yeah.
Which you're going to put into practice on this second
100%.
test. So I feel like the second test is going to be a lot better. There'll be a lot more people signed up now as well.
100%.
Now the name's out there and the prize money is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Cash always attracts people.
Absolutely.
Just quickly tell people what the tests are,
yeah.
and then we'll finish off.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. So, first test, you've got 1.5 minutes to complete a 7 rep max front squats.
Boom.
Okay.
Easy, right?
Right. 7 reps.
Next.
Then you'll have a rest, 3.5 minutes. Then you go into 3 minutes max rep strict weighted pull-ups
Beautiful. I kind of like this now. Okay.
with a weight. So the guys will have 25 pounds, girls will have 10 pounds.
Beautiful.
Then you will go into shuttle runs. It's 50-meter length, and you will complete a total of 700 meters, so 14 backwards and forwards. You'll run down, around an obstacle, and back, and it's 700 meters, and you've got 4 minutes to complete it.
Simple. You're just running.
Running up and down.
Done. So this is pretty simple now, right? You've got pull-ups, squats,
Super simple.
running.
Running, yeah.
What's the next one?
Then we go into, after the run finishes, after the 4-minute time cap finishes, you will roll straight into a 12-minute window where you will show us your 5 rep max barbell strict press.
Okay.
Strict, overemphasizing the strictness, because
Military press, people call it, right?
Yeah, the barbell's got to go below your chin.
Yeah.
You've got to pause, then you've got to push it straight up. Right? We don't want any of this momentum bouncing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's how much can your shoulders actually press.
Damn.
And then you'll go on a bike erg, concept 2 bike erg, and you'll give us your maximum distance in 10 minutes.
Wow. How simple is that?
Super simple.
But
Super simple.
it's going to be hard.
Not easy.
Simple movements, which is what I like about it. But again, them together, trying your max on all of them, it's going to definitely test the body, the lungs, your strength, the mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's obviously it's programmed like upper body, lower body, and it's programmed in a way, and finishing on the 10 minutes bike erg just to like fully go all out for 10 minutes.
Love
and
that.
I'm sure the athletes, some of them will be lying on the floor after that bike erg, fully drained. But yeah, really excited.
Just let people know where they can find the Crucible.
Yeah, the Crucible Athlete on Instagram is the best place to go. Link in the bio to the sign-up page. All of the rules, movement standards, and everything, all the timings of the workouts, it's all on the Crucible competition corner page, which is in the link in the bio.
And you can still sign up now to enter?
Yeah, you can sign up all the way until the day before it.
Okay.
But we are 50% full.
Right.
Obviously, there's only so many lanes and
How many people are you wanting? What's 50%?
150 is 50%.
So 300 people down at that weekend.
We can handle 300 people.
Yeah.
That's maximum capacity.
Okay. So only 150 left. That's not a lot.
150 signed up, 150 to go. I think we'll comfortably do over 200.
Yep.
Maybe even 250.
It's a nice day out for some people as well. It's in Abu Dhabi, like you said, at the Adnoc Centre on the 23rd.
Yeah, and the 25th of
25th of January, yeah.
Yeah, come down, do your heat, hang out, grab a coffee. Yeah. If you're good,
stay around and collect your cash.
Get your big check and an envelope full of cash.
Yeah, I love it.
And off you go. Easy.
We'll finish on one piece of advice that you'd like to give people. If there's anything, just one piece of advice you'd either give your younger self or somebody who's listening or someone who's struggling right now, whatever it might be, what's your go-to advice?
Yeah. I got asked this on a podcast that I did recently as well, and I'll say exactly the same thing, and we've already covered it.
Yeah.
It's every single morning. Actually, let's go back. I feel a lot of the time people struggle because we wake up every morning, we go and we do our best and we work long hours sometimes, and we spend most of our adult life working. Everyone. It's what we do. And a lot of people, most people, if you ask them, why are you working? They will not know the answer to that. Why are you doing what you're doing? For money? No. What's the outcome you want? Why are you waking up in the morning and going to work? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do? Most people don't know. They're working because everyone goes to work. Society told us we have to do this.
In that hamster wheel.
Yeah, and if you don't go to work and you sit at home, you run out of money, and now you're struggling and whatever. So a lot of people don't spend the time figuring out what they actually want out of life. So they don't know why they have to spend all these hours working. They don't know what it's for. And you can imagine in that kind of scenario, you might hit a few barriers, you might go through some low points, and
Sure.
you know, what's the point in this whole thing? I'm dealing with this boss, I'm going through all this hassle, this hard work, for what? So my advice would be, spend some time figuring out what kind of life you want to live, like your dream life. Spend a few weeks doing this if you need to. Spend at least a few days and really take some quiet time on your own in a quiet room without your phone. Open up a notebook and start writing. Don't hold back. Don't put what you think is possible for you, your dream life. And write that stuff out every single morning. I'm telling you, if you write it out and you visualize that every single morning, eventually you'll start believing it can be possible for you, because your subconscious mind, your brain, whatever, will start coming up with solutions to the questions that you're now asking it.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely you'll gain that self-confidence, and you'll realize why you're going through all this hard work, and stuff will start to click.
There you are.
You'll be much happier for it.
I said I'd finish on that question, but one come up while you were saying that, and you covered it slightly, but why do you do what you do? Because you just told me then that people don't know why they go to it, they don't know what they're doing in life. Like, why do you do what you do? What gives you purpose to get up in the morning and do what you do?
Well, I did this work that I just told you to do, that I just mentioned about figuring out what kind of life you want. And I did it for myself. And I know why I do what I do. And it's because from a early age, when my parents were together, my mum would ask me, like, what do you want to be when you're older? And my answer was, I'm going to live in America in a really big house. I'm going to have loads of dogs and a supercar. And the vision I had in my mind at a very young, this was like, we're talking like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, was a red Ferrari. This was a vision. And actually, I think the answer was, I want to be a chef, a celebrity chef. I want to have a big house, all these dogs. So I've had it in me from a very young age that I want to have this kind of life. A big house with loads of dogs and a supercar is not a normal thing. And I've always known deep down that I can get there. Like if I just keep working, and eventually I can get to this kind of thing. My actual goals is not that, but it's a big house and it's a supercar and dogs and kids and wife and family and this whole thing that I want. And it's my perfect life that I perceive as what I want personally for my life, right? Everyone's got their own shit that they want and their own lives that they want to give and their own contribution to that life. And when I'm going through hard work times, or when I'm getting frustrated or whatever, it's all for a reason. So it's not really that bad. Yeah. It's you wanted this life, so you got to do the work to get there. Sure. So it just puts things in that kind of mindset where, I've got to work hard for it. It's going to take a long time, but it's going to be worth it because what I actually really want. It's not what society tells me that I should have. It's not what other ideas people have put in my head. I want this life 1,000%. So it's all worth it.
Love that.
And I believe I can help people in a certain way. I believe I can contribute and be valuable in this world. due to the experience I had and almost dying, and not many people get to experience almost dying. I think I can help people break that glass ceiling that they put over their heads and actually take action on some stuff in their lives and better their lives.
What a way to end.
Boom.
Boom. Well, thanks for being on my podcast. We
Thanks.
could be sat here for another
Yeah,
hour.
we
but,
could do days probably.
Yeah, I've got work to do because, you know, I've got to do work to reach to my goals. My goals, you know, so.
The car, the marathon.
Exactly, mate.
All
Exactly.
sorts going on.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
No, thanks, mate.
Good man. A big thank you to our main podcast sponsor, Practical, for supplying guests with some tasty snacks, and you guys for watching on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and let us know what you think by dropping a message in the comment section below.